Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's just finished. West Ham United 2, Leicester City 0. Back-to-back wins for the first time in Premier League for West Ham. Back-to-back clean sheets as well. A win in the league at home for Graham Potter. Good. Will we deal with the positivity or the honesty first? Both things are true. Both things are honest, but there's a positive element. We won. Clean sheet, 3 points in the bag. The honest one, which is going to cost a bit negative, it was a bit boring, weren't it? The game itself, it wasn't too exciting, but the positivity. Anyway, we're going to discuss the highlights, and there's one or two players I want to talk about as well. If you're new to Hammers Chat, please do subscribe. Even if you think you've subscribed, please just double check in case you haven't. Approximately 1/3 of you watching this right now have not. If you're one of the 33%, get subscribing. And also drop a like on the video as well by clicking the thumbs up. And shall we just start by saying Leicester City are dog shit. Wow. The second bottom of the Premier League. I've watched them quite a lot this season, and to be kind, they've been uninspiring when I've watched them. Jesus wept. They are god-awful. That's one of the worst teams I've seen us play. It was easy. Tonight we won, and we didn't even get out of second gear. That was a piss-poor performance from them. Made it very comfortable for our entire team for the 90 minutes. They are stinky. Now, take nothing away from us because we control the game. There's elements of the game tonight I really enjoyed. The game itself was a bit boring, but there was elements that I liked from West Ham. It's something that we haven't seen for a little while. And I think sometimes you need a boring win. I know this is going to sound a bit strange, but that's possibly what Potter needed, just to get 3 points on the board, get the back-to-back clean sheets. In Leicester City were the perfect team to do that because just crap. They've got no defense, no midfield, and no attack. It was absolutely stinky from them. But let's talk about West Ham. We took the lead after 21 minutes, and I'm going to have a little bit of a mini rant here to some extent. I hate VAR. I really do detest it. You see some decisions like Aston Villa's disallowed goal against whoever they were playing the other night when they got beat by Crystal Palace. That disallowed goal, stuff like that. I think, oh, come on, it's just spoiling it a little bit. We scored. Tomas Soucek scored on his birthday. Couldn't celebrate. Well, you could have, but I didn't. And I'll tell you why. I thought it might have been offside. I thought they're going to check this. It could be offside. I need to wait for the replay. And upon the first replay, you could tell he was onside. Goal's fine. But the moment's gone, really, isn't it? You're not going to celebrate that. So by the time it's been confirmed as a goal, the moment's passed. So even in the boring game, the good bit, it wasn't that good because of VAR. You look at the player, Soucek's, didn't even whip his copter out. Careful, not like that. His celebration, the Sue copter, you couldn't even do that. The players walked up to him because they thought he was offside. Potter celebration was as if say he's offside. Potter didn't. Nobody celebrated. So rubbish. Ewan makes a really good point, to be fair, which was that Soucek possibly didn't do it because of the Leicester crash. That's a very good point, Ewan. But I thought it was because of the possible offside. I hate VAR for things like this. I watched Sunderland Leeds a couple of weeks ago. Last minute winner. Ellen Road went absolutely mental. Anyway, back to the game. The goal itself, that ball from Aaron Cresswell, there you go. Absolutely delicious. When he did it against Arsenal, that cross, and it just didn't quite connect with Bowen. I do think the Arsenal player got a slight nick on it on the edge of the box. But tonight, no slight nick. Kudus should be scoring this one, shouldn't he? Let's be honest with you. He gets away with it a little bit. Because Soucek's there. If Soucek wasn't there, we're looking at that back going, how has he missed that one? Really good save, don't get me wrong. But we're looking at it from a West Ham perspective. In the last couple of games, he's had decent performances, Kudus, or improved performance. I thought he was excellent against Arsenal. He was my man of match. The game before that against Chelsea, I thought his attitude was there, but it wasn't quite coming off for him. And the general consensus was he needs something. He needs a goal, an assist, he needs something. And there it is. There's your opportunity. Get that in the back of the net, and you might see a different Kudus. Because I thought he went on to have, at best, a very average game tonight for us. I thought he really struggled to make much of an impression. And I was pleased when he went off for various different reasons. Big miss though, but there was Tomas Soucek to knock it in. 1-0 West Ham. And to be honest with you, up until that goal, it was pretty simple for us. We were knocking the ball about. The only thing that was lacking was that creativity. To be honest with you, even after the goal, the creativity didn't come. It was still simple. At one point, with 87% possession or something, which isn't something we often see at West Ham. It was all in safe areas of the pitch, and we were inside Leicester's half. But Hermansen didn't have anything to do. Areola didn't have anything to do. But getting that second goal before halftime was crucial, or I think it was maybe more crucial for Leicester to go in at halftime only a goal down, so they could come out and try and do something, try and score a goal in a game of football. But that goal just before halftime just killed the game. It wasn't really competitive anyway, but any little ounce of competition left was gone. As Jarrod Bowen scored, now it's gone down as an own goal. And it was an own goal, but I'm a bit biased. I've got Bowen in my fantasy league. So when it went in, I thought, get in, points. Go for Jarrod Bowen, points for fantasy league, double winner. But it's been demoted to an assist. Ball come in, Bowen flicks it on, it sort of bounces into him, takes on his right foot. He is shooting, hits Vestergaard, goes in. And it's one of those goals, it's pretty pathetic from a defending standpoint. If you're a Leicester fan, that goal probably sums up your season a little bit, which is limp attitude and a lame effort from the players, and you're just watching it thinking, well, just relegate us now. Can we just start the championship, please? 2-0 West Ham at half-time. The second half, we continued. We started this second half as we ended it, which was in complete control. Came out, I think, for the first 5 minutes of the second half, was 86% possession West Ham had, which is what we needed to do. Any potential sort of upbeat attitude Leicester had gathered in the changing room, we needed to get rid of it. And to be honest with you, I don't think they had it in the first place. But if they did, we did get rid of it. We were in complete control. But again, lacking in creativity. And I say lacking, there was none. It was non-existent. There was no creativity. I'm not even sure we were trying to score a third goal, to be honest with you. I think we were just trying to keep the ball in Leicester's half and just knock it about and keep it West Ham. I think the 3 substitutions, I get them, right? Todibo looked like he picked up a knock, and given his injury and that he'd gone off after an hour against Arsenal, I think he would have gone off anyway. So I get taking Todibo off, and I thought Mavropanos did all right when he came on. I thought there was a couple of nice passes from him in there. So that's how I knew this game was piss easy, right? I knew tonight was easy. Mavropanos come on, I wasn't worried. Right, he came on against Arsenal. I was panicking when I seen him come onto the pitch. Tonight, Mavropanos come on, didn't even flinch or whatever. Bring him on if you take off Bowen. If you want, change the keeper if you want. Put Guido Rodriguez in goal if you want. I'm not sure it would make too much difference. I wasn't flustered at all. Came on, did all right. But when he took Emerson and Soler on for Alvarez and Scarles, I felt like it was putting players on for the sake of putting players on. I thought Scarles was having a good game, I thought he was putting in an energetic performance down that side. And when he went off and Emerson came on, I thought it was just a case of giving Emerson minutes. And the same with Soler for Alvarez, which you're going to do 2-0 up. It's comfortable. But I felt there was maybe better subs we could have made. I'm not pretending. I was a bit disappointed that it wasn't Ferguson and Guilherme. Now, of course, we'd seen what Ferguson brought to the pitch. But Guilherme in particular, I thought, could we get him on just to add that bit of energy, maybe a bit of excitement? Because it was boring in the second half. So I was hoping Guilherme would come on just to add maybe a little bit of the X factor, bring on someone with something to prove. And I would argue that Soler brought that to some extent. Ferguson replaced Kudus, and then there was that big chance for Ferguson, wasn't there? It was a good break by West Ham. And Jarrod Bowen, I think, did the right thing up until the pass, holds onto the ball long enough so that Ferguson and Soler are now in good positions, and he releases the ball at the right time. I think he picks the wrong option. I think Soler would have been the better option, but I understand why he's giving it to the striker. If you are in that position and your striker's free, he's the one you should try to get the ball to. I don't think it's a bad pass. I think it's a bad first touch from Ferguson, an unnecessary second touch, and it allows the defender to come back and block him. And you can put it down to lack of match sharpness, if you like. He's about as sharp as a balloon at this rate, Ferguson, because later on he'd get the ball and it sort of got stuck between his feet and he was easily tackled. And he just looked a bit slow, a bit lumpy. I don't know. Ferguson was a bit of a disappointment tonight, but that's why he needs game time to get him up to speed. I think if Ferguson had played a game last week and scored, for example, that pass Bowen gives him, you can turn an average pass into a good one when you're in form. And I think that was just a striker without any momentum or form behind him and taking that extra touch. That was all. But he looked a little bit slow tonight, Ferguson. But he wasn't the only one. And I think it's a difficult game to come into as a striker when you're coming on and the rest of the team have already cranked it down a little bit and they're just passing it around, and it's like training ground attitude to some extent from the players. I think it's difficult as a striker, but that's what you're waiting for. You're waiting for that one chance, and he didn't take it, unfortunately. And it is unfortunately because I want him to do well. I think he's a good player, and that was his moment, really. Kudus had his moment. He missed. Ferguson had his, and he didn't really get the shot away, which was disappointing. The game would trickle out to a comfortable 2-0 win. It was a pretty, despite conceding 2, it was a pretty straightforward night for Hermansen and a very straightforward night for Areola. A little in the way of goal-mouth action. Finished 2-0. Like I said at the start, though, positive. We've won, clean sheet. We made it look easy. Training ground for us today. But it was a bit boring. I thought Todibo looked really good. I thought man of the match is going to be a bit difficult for West Ham tonight because I don't think there was any outstanding performers. I don't think there was any bad ones either. I think some players had decent games. And that was the level we played at tonight, I felt. I thought we were decent, but we got the job done. And it's sort of nice to see us control a game. I think sometimes in previous regimes and seasons where we've gone 2-0 up and looked a little bit jittery. And at one point, Leicester City had 5-10 minutes outside West Ham's half where we were struggling to get on the ball and they were moving it around and we were struggling to get our foot on it and get out. But they didn't create anything. The lack of quality from Leicester was really telling and it was easy for us. But eventually we did get the ball back and we did move up the pitch and keep it West Ham. And that control, I think, is something that I was impressed by and how easy it was. But Leicester City did play a monumental part of tonight, just being pretty straightforward. Let's run through a few players very quickly. Creswell, delicious cross. Kilman, he was all right. Didn't really have much to do. Todibo, I think, just looked better. Todibo looked like a classy player out there. A couple of runs forward as well. One point he lost it. He stayed up and helped press in the corner and we won the ball back, forced him into a misplaced pass. I thought Todibo was really, really good. I think Ward-Prowse has made a big difference coming back. An easy night for him. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and pretend he's breaking up all the action and he's just pocketed prime Kevin De Bruyne or anything like that. But I thought he cruised through tonight and he was just Mr. Comfortable in there at the heart of midfield. And I think he's made a difference in the last couple of games, actually, Ward-Prowse. I think in the first half, he was imposing himself on the game a lot more and dictating the tempo, which isn't something we've had at West Ham. I don't feel like we often have a central midfielder that can do that can just control the pace of the game. But I thought Ward-Prowse was doing that in the first half, especially. Soucek was good. Lost possession a couple of times, but went and won it back on both occasions. He was fine in midfield, but it was a game that suited him, a game of low quality and low tempo. Alvarez was busy. I thought the front two were quite quiet, Kudus and Bowen, which is kind of disappointing given the team we've just faced. Wan-Bissaka was all right. Scars, I thought, was all right. Just pretty bloody easy for West Ham, to be honest with you. I don't know who I'd give my man a match to be honest with you. I don't think anybody stood out that much. Possibly Ward-Prowse. I think he was, I say, the difference maker. He didn't create anything or that per se, but I think he had the most influence on our performance in the first half. I'll give it to Ward-Prowse, but if anyone's going to argue with me, say, oh, it should be this player, I'm not going to debate it with you. I don't think there was an outstanding performer for West Ham tonight, so I'll give it to I'll give it to Ward-Prowse in midfield. I thought it was a very comfortable evening. He's made a big difference. Anyway, I'm not going to go live tomorrow. Normally I do a debrief live, don't I? For two reasons. One, I'm going to do my podcast with Frankie, and two, because West Ham Fan TV do the Friday Night Pint, and I don't want to well, that's their slot on YouTube, if you like. So I don't want to do it tomorrow night. So I'll podcast with Frankie will go up. But over the weekend, I'll do the debrief. Not sure when, maybe lunchtime Saturday or lunchtime Sunday, I'll go live. So if I'll put up a community post or mention it in the podcast tomorrow with Frankie. So if you're around then, you can come and join me. But I will be live over on Patreon tomorrow morning. So if you're a patron, come join us. If not, patreon.com/Hammers Chat, where myself and Gonzo will go through every player involved tonight and give them a mark out of 10. Ferguson won't be getting a high one, that's for sure. But I'll give Potter a high one because while it was boring, that was one of the most efficient performances I've seen from West Ham this season. Now, the bar is low. But remember, we played this Leicester and lost 3-1 earlier in the season. Back-to-back wins for the first time. Well done, Gaffer. And I look forward to seeing us play Newcastle in a couple of weeks' time. Well, a week and a half. Catch you in a bit.